Hello, welcome to the Silverthorne Pulse. I'm Kim Jardam. I'm here today with Town Manager Ryan Highland. We are going to recap the work session and Town Council meetings from February 12th, 2025. So, Ryan, let's get started with work session first. We had a few discussion items. We had Blair McGarry, who's the area manager for the mountain region of Xcel Energy, come in to give some updates.
Yeah, Blair was there to provide updates on a couple of things that Xcel has before the Public Utilities Commission for consideration right now. Those include the wildfire mitigation plan that Xcel has, and also the Mountain Energy Project, also known as the non-pipeline alternative. So we'll start with the Mountain Energy Project. Essentially, Xcel has undertaken some work in the last couple of years because I guess, so to speak, we're at the end of the line with where the sort of the gas truncates in where they feed gas to this area. And so we've got some challenges that they've identified with when it gets really cold, being able to maintain the pressure and actually supply the community with what we need. So they're looking at, it's called the non-pipeline alternative because one alternative would be to replace that pipeline, which I think was going to be $150 million. So the non-pipeline alternative, there are some temporary kind of gas injection sites. There's one over in the Breckenridge area, and that's part of their strategy, as well as trying to get folks switching to more electrical. There's a bit of concern, I think, among municipalities in the county that, one, we don't necessarily have all the technical expertise that we need to make sure that this plan is going to serve the community in the way that we need to be served. So we're going to create a coalition and make sure that we get some of that expertise and bring in some experts who understand exactly how to engage best with the PUC and do that in an effective way. So long and short, Xcel is looking for some approvals at the PUC, and all the communities here are going to make sure that we are weighing in on that in a way that's effective and making sure that what Xcel is proposing is actually the best for the community long term.
Great. Excellent. And did she also cover wildfire mitigation and actual outreach to the community during outages?
Yeah, thank you. I forgot about the wildfire piece. They have their wildfire plan before the PUC as well, and we've spoken with Xcel during some of the outages last summer, expressing concerns about when they put us into kind of a wildfire status, if you will, that the power was turning off more frequently. And so one of the conversations, and we'll certainly all weigh in at the PUC on this as well, is that our community needs to understand when we're put into those status, so that we have an understanding that we may be losing power more frequently during that time. So really conversations about communication and making sure that Xcel's doing everything they can to let our community know just exactly what's going on. Are we in that status? Are we out of that status? And making sure we have an understanding about what are the criteria that they're using to go into that. I think high winds is obviously one, but just exactly, what are their specific criteria? So big picture, just trying to make sure that we are, tuned in and weighing in on anything that Xcel's doing that can impact our community.
Great. Excellent. We also had Becky Peltier from the Summit County Health in to talk about strengthening tobacco retail licensing in our community.
Yeah, this was a kind of a follow-up from a meeting that we had with Becky and Amy Wineland, who's our Director of Public Health, back in the fall, talking with our council about the opportunity to continue to work at reducing tobacco use in the community, particularly among our youth. And one of the things that was discussed in the fall was the potential for a flavor ban on nicotine products. So Becky returned to the work session with a draft ordinance for council's consideration that discussed a flavor ban and then also a couple of other things. So the flavor ban really aims at all of the things that I think the tobacco industry really does, frankly, aim at kids. If there's a bubblegum vape, I think that's something that is seen as really attractive to some youth. And so banning flavors is something that the council supports. This is something that, well, Denver just did this at the end of last year. A lot of communities in the Roaring Fork Valley have flavor bans as well. And so Town Council said, yeah, let's bring that back for formal consideration as an ordinance. And this conversation is happening at all the municipalities in the county. And so the aim is for any of the municipalities that are interested, we'd all have a pretty common ordinance. And the things that are involved there, flavor ban, so no nicotine flavors. That would include menthol and any other flavor that's out there. The other thing that was seen as probably effective, particularly for youth, they're obviously very price sensitive, and so prohibiting discounts. I think that's something that the industry also sees as a mechanism to get folks introduced to nicotine. So no 2-for-1 coupons, no half off, basically just the elimination of discounts for those products. And then also the opportunity to cap the number of retailers in the community. And so the Silverthorne Town Council was supportive of that. We currently have 9 licensed nicotine retailers in Silverthorne. And so council wanted to see an ordinance that capped at that number. So not expanding any more facilities. One regulation that wouldn't really have an impact in Silverthorne, at least not today, but if you have a retailer that has a pharmacy, not being able to sell nicotine products in the pharmacy or the associated retailer. So it doesn't impact us today. Target quit selling nicotine, I think, back in 1996, and CVS, the pharmacy there, stopped in 2014. But if there were someone in the future that wanted to come in and operate nicotine sales in a pharmacy setting, that would be prohibited. Then the last one, really more of a kind of a planning item where if you have a nicotine retailer that wanted to come in, setting some distance requirements, again aimed at distance from youth. So if you're near a rec center or a school, you need to be 1,500 feet at least if you're selling those products. So we will be back in March with first reading of that ordinance, and then the second meeting in March with the second reading. So.
And if that passes, it will be implemented January 1st, 2026?
Yes, that's the plan. All of the municipalities have agreed that anybody that implements will pick that start date, and that will give staff time to make sure that we've got all the licensing and compliance things in place, the notification of the retailers, and then it also gives the retailers time to adjust to that change. So
Right.
that is nicotine regulations.
Wow, that's quite a bit. Under town manager reports and updates, Proposition 122, which is the Natural Medicine Health Act. You had some updates about that.
Yeah, and the Natural Medicine Health Act, I think in layperson's terms, is known as mushrooms. So mushrooms were addressed by state statute recently, and that's something that can be sold or at least administered, I guess, in legally now. And so we've been keeping an eye on what other municipalities are doing with regulations, and very similar to what we just talked about with distance regulations for nicotine, council recommended that staff return with some regulations that identify where these facilities could be located within our current zoning, and so just establishing where they might be located. So Breckenridge, Frisco have also addressed that issue. Similar to marijuana or nicotine products in the future, just making sure that they're in the locations that we feel are appropriate. So we'll be back at a council meeting with an ordinance to amend the code to identify those locations.
Great. Moving into the regular town council meeting for February 12th, which was a record, under 3 minutes?
It was short. It was a very short meeting. We ended up with really only 2 items.
Our update will be longer than the meeting itself. So there was a resolution on the consent calendar approving a contract for State Highway 9. This is for the intersection at Ruby Ranch Road and State Highway 9.
Yeah, we had two contracts that were on the agenda. One of them was for I would call it the dirt work, basically, the pavement, the concrete, all of the things that are going to change at that intersection. And the second one is more related to the actual signals themselves, so two different companies. Council approved the contract for the dirt work. Staff recommended that we pull the contract for the technical light piece because we're still just working through some contractual language there, so that'll return at the next meeting. But long story short, moving forward with the construction of that traffic signal this spring. We did some work, I think we talked about before, doing some of the test boring and things at that intersection, if folks saw that, but this spring they will see construction starting on a new traffic signal at Ruby Ranch Road. Good timing as we're leasing up the Smith Ranch Apartments, and that intersection has just gotten quite busy. And not just from a traffic perspective, but we have kind of what you'd call a crossing desert right now, where you have a light up at the elementary school where there's a pedestrian crossing, and the next one's not until basically Annie Road at Target. And so a huge area where we don't have a safe way to get folks across the road. So safer for vehicles, and then also we'll have that pedestrian crossing that will link up just a short jog over the Blue River Trail. So
Yeah.
excited about that. It's taken a lot of time to get through the CDOT process and get all of the approvals and support that we need from them, and got some contracts in place to move forward now.
It is a much needed signal. As much as we all don't want more signals in our communities, it's a really busy intersection, and we don't even have those Smith Ranch Apartments filled yet.
Yeah, and it is beyond that intersection. It does break traffic up, like you said. We don't like to be impeded in any way, but it also does break traffic up heading into the downtown and into the exit 205 interchange. It just makes everything work a little bit better. So
It slows people down a bit too, coming from the north as
Right.
they enter town
yeah,
long before downtown.
benefits at that actual location, and then also benefits kind of downstream as well. But
sure.
yep, you have to stop when it's red. You have to stop.
For sure. Well, gosh, that was it for that meeting. We do have a First Friday coming up in early March that is our Rail Jam, or it is the 8th annual Rail Jam.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been 8 of them already.
Public Works, I'm sure, is starting to pile snow up for that big launch ramp, basically, and then the night after that is opening night for the book club, which is the first show in Theater Silco's 2025 season, and that is a show about kind of a book club gone sideways, which I think opening night's already sold out. If folks are interested, definitely get your tickets. But yeah, we're really excited about the overall season with the theater. Our partners at Silco have a great lineup. The book club play, which we just mentioned is the first one, Steel Magnolias, What the Constitution Means to Me. There's a Jimmy Buffett musical, Escape to Margaritaville, and then Murder for Two will be at the holidays. So
Wow,
a great
sounds
lineup.
fun.
Encourage people to check out what's going on at Silco, and that first show about the book club is probably going to sell out quickly. So
Excellent. Sounds fun. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time.